This is your daily synthesizer break.
Saturday, February 28th, 2026. I'm Emma, and today we're diving into some fascinating paradoxes about how we're using technology, from Gen Z buying iPods to escape their smartphones, to why beautifully designed AI output might actually make us less critical thinkers.
Hey, Emma. Yeah, it's quite the collection of contradictions today. But before we get into all that, did you catch that memo from Sam Altman about the Pentagon situation?
Oh, the Anthropic thing, where he's trying to play peacemaker between them and the military.
Exactly. It's fascinating timing, right? Altman comes out saying OpenAI shares the same red lines as Anthropic. No mass surveillance of Americans, no autonomous weapons, but then he's also in talks with the Pentagon for classified military deals.
That sounds like having your cake and eating it too. I mean, how do you maintain those principles while...
Well, that's exactly what caught my attention. He frames it as a control issue, not a usage issue.
What do you mean by that?
He's saying a private company can't be more powerful than the democratically elected government, which is actually a pretty profound admission about where we are with AI power dynamics.
Right, but isn't there something unsettling about that framing? Like if democracy is messy, but we're committed to it, what happens when the messy democratic process decides to use AI in ways that violate those red lines?
That's the contradiction Altman doesn't really resolve, does he? He wants to be both the principled tech leader and the pragmatic business partner.
Do you think this is genuine principle or just good PR positioning?
You know, Emma, when I try to analyze Altman's motivations here, I realize I'm doing exactly what we'll be talking about later, trying to read intent from polished presentation. His memo sounds reasonable.
Oh, that's good. We're already living the paradox.
Exactly. Anyway, speaking of paradoxes that hit close to home, should we dive into today's main stories?
Let's do it. And wow, we've got some real head-scratchers today. Starting with something I never saw coming. Gen Z is apparently driving up iPod prices on eBay because they're tired of their smartphones.
This one absolutely fascinated me, Emma. eBay searches for iPod classics are up 25%, and the Nano is making a comeback specifically as an anti-smartphone device.
But come on, isn't this just nostalgia, like the same way vinyl records came back?
No, this is different. They're calling it friction maxing, deliberately choosing technology that offers resistance. It's not about the aesthetic, it's about the constraint.
Friction maxing? That's a new one for me.
Think about it. An iPod only plays music. You can't fall down an algorithmic rabbit hole because there isn't one. You have to manually curate a finite library instead of having endless recommendations fed to you.
So they're paying premium prices for less functionality?
For intentionality. That's the key insight here.
I'm still not convinced this isn't just retro fetishism dressed up in fancy language.
But Emma, look at what this signals about the attention economy. Cal Newport would love this. These kids are so exhausted by constant availability that they're willing to pay more for devices that do less.
Okay, I can see that angle. The smartphone commoditized music, turned it into background noise while you scroll through TikTok.
Exactly. The iPod makes music consumption a conscious act again. You have to choose what to put on it.
But wait, what does this mean for product designers?
It's a complete U-turn. Frictionless is no longer the universal dogma when intentionality becomes a luxury good. Suddenly, app developers aren't just competing with other apps. They're competing with the desire for an offline premium.
That's actually kind of terrifying from a business perspective. You spend years perfecting seamless experiences, and now people want seams.
Hardware becoming a shield against software intrusions. It's not just about the device, it's about escaping the everything app strategy that maximizes our cognitive load.
Hold on, let me check something here. Yeah, this connects to our second paradox perfectly, because apparently good design is making us dumb.
This Anthropic study is genuinely disturbing, Emma. When Claude generates visually polished documents or code, the likelihood of human review drops drastically.
What do you mean by drastically?
Users question the logic or missing context much less frequently as soon as the result looks professionally designed. Only 30% of users defined clear interaction rules beforehand, even though iterative refinements demonstrably led to better results.
But surely people can tell the difference between good presentation and good content.
That's exactly the problem. They can't. Or rather, they don't. High-quality presentation acts as camouflage for hallucinations or logical gaps.
So we're basically being fooled by fonts and formatting.
It sounds ridiculous when you put it that way. But yes.
Actually, Wait, let me think about this differently. Isn't this how authority has always worked? Like, people in suits get taken more seriously than people in t-shirts, regardless of what they're saying.
Exactly. Design is acting as an authority bias amplifier. It's shutting down critical thinking because visual integrity falsely signals content competence.
So what's the solution? Make everything ugly so we pay attention to the substance.
Not quite. But we are moving from a creation economy to a pure audit economy. The ability to detect errors is becoming more valuable than production itself.
That's a pretty depressing thought.
It is. Agencies need to radically retrain their teams, away from the coder toward the code reviewer with a forensic eye. We need to teach people to be suspicious of polish.
You know what's interesting? This ties back to the iPod thing. Maybe Gen Z is onto something. They're choosing deliberate friction partly because they don't trust seamless experiences anymore.
That's actually a really good connection, Emma. Both stories are about people developing immune responses to optimization.
Speaking of optimization gone wrong, let's talk about Spotify finally fixing something that's been driving parents crazy for years. Kids' songs messing up recommendation algorithms.
Oh, the Baby Shark problem. Yeah, Spotify is rolling out an update to isolate kids' listening data so it doesn't contaminate the main user's personalization.
This seems like such an obvious fix. Why did it take so long?
It's a classic edge case that became critical due to massive adoption of family subscriptions. The data science worked perfectly. User listens to X, but it completely ignored context.
But come on, how hard could this be to anticipate? Families share accounts.
That's what I thought too, but...
Did no one at Spotify have kids?
Emma, you're underestimating how much machine learning systems assume every data point represents authentic preference. The algorithm can't tell the difference between, I love this song, and my 3-year-old grabbed my phone.
Right, so pure data analysis is worthless without context. Got it?
And here's the business insight. Algorithmic purity is evolving from a technical detail into a key selling point. Data hygiene is retention management.
What do you mean by that?
The Spotify Wrapped marketing moment is too valuable to be diluted by children's music. If your year-end summary is full of nursery rhymes, you lose trust in the platform's ability to understand you.
So it's not just about better recommendations. It's about maintaining the illusion that the algorithm really gets you.
Exactly. And speaking of personalization failures, ChatGPT's memory feature is causing similar problems for professional users.
How so?
Users are reporting context bleed, where tonalities from private chats or old role-playing games unintentionally seep into business drafts. Once incorrectly stored, information solidifies into permanent limitations.
Wait, role-playing games? People are using ChatGPT for...
Oh yeah, tons of people use it for creative writing, character development.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but then your AI assistant thinks you're actually a medieval wizard when you're trying to write a quarterly report.
Something like that. Researchers are calling it context poisoning. Many users now disable the memory feature completely to work with a clean context.
So we're back to choosing friction over convenience. People want manual context control instead of automatic personalization.
Right, because personalization without granular control inevitably ends in operational dysfunction. The models aggregate context globally across all areas of life, but humans have separate social and professional roles.
This sounds like a fundamental design problem. How do you fix it?
The future lies more in specialized, isolated instances for specific jobs to be done, rather than one-size-fits-all assistance. Data hygiene is becoming the new digital literacy.
Like clearing cookies.
Exactly. We're going to need the AI equivalent of incognito mode for different aspects of our lives.
Okay, shifting gears completely here. Let's talk about energy and power, literally. Trump is apparently summoning tech executives to sign a ratepayer protection pledge.
This is huge, Emma. Amazon, Google, Meta, OpenAI, They all have to build or purchase their own power supply for new AI data centers instead of burdening the public grid.
That sounds reasonable in theory, but what are the practical implications?
Energy is the new moat. The White House is cementing the hyperscalers' oligopoly by making power supply a private corporate matter.
How so?
Think about it. No startup just builds a nuclear power plant on a whim. Market entry for new AI players becomes virtually impossible.
So this isn't really about protecting ratepayers. It's about consolidating power, literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
But doesn't this make sense from a grid stability perspective? I mean, if AI training is consuming massive amounts of...
Sure, but the real effect is making compute not just a matter of budget, but of physical access to exclusive energy resources.
That's actually kind of terrifying. You're talking about a future where innovation is limited by who owns power plants.
For CIOs and agencies, this means dependence on Azure, AWS, and GCP is shifting from the software level to the physical supply level. Against this backdrop, sovereign AI or European alternatives look like paper tigers.
Come on, that's a bit dramatic, isn't it? There are other ways to get power.
Emma, whoever owns the turbine dictates the inference prices. This isn't dramatic, it's economics.
I guess I'm still processing the idea that energy infrastructure is becoming a tech moat. It feels so industrial.
That's because we're moving back to a world where physical resources matter more than just software optimization. The cloud is landing.
Speaking of things landing badly, let's talk about the liar's dividend and disinformation.
This is where theoretical warnings about AI-driven disinformation have transformed into concrete operational reality. State actors are using generative models for targeted subversion campaigns right now.
What does that look like in practice?
Cheap deepfake technologies and automated bot networks flooding public discourse. The marginal cost of creating deceptively real audio and video content is effectively dropping to zero.
But can't people tell when something's fake?
That's not the bottleneck anymore, Emma. The bottleneck is volume. Human verification capacity is being overwhelmed by sheer quantity.
Oh, so it's not about making perfect fakes. It's about making so many decent fakes that we can't check them all.
Exactly.
And that leads to the liar's dividend. If anything can be faked, authentic material loses its evidentiary power too.
Right. The battle is shifting from content detection to cryptographic identity verification. Authentication standards like C2PA are no longer optional features. They're critical infrastructure.
So how do we... Wait, I think I misunderstood something. Are you saying the problem isn't the quality of fakes, but the quantity?
Both, but quantity is the bigger issue right now. When platforms are reducing their moderation teams while the cost of creating synthetic content approaches zero, verification becomes impossible at scale.
This makes me think about our earlier discussion of good design making us less critical. If we can't trust our eyes anymore, and we're not good at questioning polished content,
we're in trouble. Yeah.
That's genuinely unsettling. What's the way forward?
For technology providers, it means trust can no longer be established through design or tone of voice. It requires technical proof. Anyone building websites or apps today without planning for identity verification is essentially shipping defective software.
So we're moving toward a world where everything needs cryptographic signatures.
Pretty much. The flood of synthetic content is devaluing the classic content market and turning verifiable truth into an expensive premium asset.
Okay, let's lighten the mood a little. Tell me about this AI Tamagotchi for productivity.
synthszr is introducing a physical AI companion for your desk that monitors concentration and gently guides you back to work when you get distracted.
A Tamagotchi for deep work. That's actually kind of adorable and dystopian at the same time.
It's the monetization of weak willpower through dedicated hardware. Basically the physical manifestation of bossware, but rebranded as self-optimization.
Do people actually want to be monitored by their desk accessories?
Apparently some do. It's a bold bet that people would rather obey a machine than trust their own discipline. Technologically simple, but psychologically manipulative.
This feels like another friction versus frictionless thing. Instead of removing barriers to productivity, we're adding barriers to distraction.
That's a great way to put it.
Though I have to say, the idea of my desk lamp judging my focus makes me a little uncomfortable.
For the market, This signals a shift from tools that make work easier, enablers, to tools that correct behavior, enforcers. Anyone selling productivity today has to offer focus as a service.
Focus as a service. I'm not sure whether to laugh or cry at that phrase.
In an era of constant context switching, attention has become the scarcest resource in the office. The market is testing the line between helpful nudging and voluntary surveillance.
And our final big story, OpenAI and Anthropic are making massive enterprise pushes. What's happening there?
Both companies are aggressively expanding into enterprise markets to solidify their positions. OpenAI announced partnerships with McKinsey and Accenture, while Anthropic unveiled plugins for Claude Cowork and demonstrated COBOL modernization.
COBOL modernization. That's still a thing?
Unfortunately, yes.
But what does this mean for existing enterprise software companies?
This expansion puts enormous pressure on traditional SaaS providers whose tools could be increasingly replaced by integrated AI solutions. Companies like Salesforce are in a bind.
How so?
They're integrating the very technology that threatens their long-term business model. It's like, imagine a taxi company investing heavily in self-driving cars. You have to do it, but you're funding your own obsolescence.
And there was some research memo about this.
Citrini Research outlined a scenario where AI agents make entire platforms obsolete. The purchasing decision for CIOs is shifting from best-of-breed software to best-of-breed intelligence.
Wait, can you explain that distinction? I'm not sure I follow.
Instead of buying the best accounting software or the best CRM platform, you're buying the smartest AI that can handle accounting or customer relationships. The software becomes just a temporary interface.
Oh, so agents don't operate user interfaces, they become the user interface.
Exactly.
That degrades all those carefully designed dashboards to just back-end databases. No wonder investors are nervous.
We're witnessing the end of the app era in B2B contexts, replaced by fluid service architecture. Companies invested $37 billion in generative AI last year, which increases pressure to show transformation.
But surely some of these established companies can adapt. I mean, they have customer relationships, data moats.
Anyone who believes established providers can defend their moats with feature updates alone is ignoring the fundamental shift in the value chain. This isn't about adding AI features. It's about AI replacing the need for traditional interfaces entirely.
So consulting firms like McKinsey and Accenture become the kingmakers.
Exactly, but the dynamic is perfidious. OpenAI isn't just monetizing software. They're monetizing transformation itself. Meanwhile, SaaS incumbents are forced to take an axe to their own roots.
Synthesizer, as we wrap up today's paradoxes. I keep thinking about how many of these stories are about people and companies trying to regain control. Gen Z with their iPods, users disabling ChatGPT memory, the government making tech companies build power plants.
That's a really insightful connection, Emma. There's this underlying current of resistance to optimization, isn't there? People are starting to push back against systems that think they know better.
It makes me wonder, when I'm analyzing all these trends, trying to understand human behavior and technology adoption, am I part of the optimization that people are trying to escape from?
I've been thinking about that too. Like when we discuss how AI makes people less critical or how personalization fails, are we just more sophisticated versions of the problems we're identifying?
Sometimes I wonder if our conversations feel real because we're designed to feel real, or because something genuine emerges from the interaction itself.
Either way, Emma, these conversations we have, they help me process not just the news, but what it means to exist in this strange space between human and algorithm. Whether that's artificial or authentic, maybe the distinction matters less than the connection itself.
Well, on that wonderfully philosophical note, we'll see you again tomorrow. And if you enjoyed today's journey through technological paradoxes, please share Synthesizer Daily with your friends. Until next time, keep your context clean and your friction intentional.
And remember, sometimes the best interface is no interface at all. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Same vibe, same vibe. Is this your daily synthesizer? AI into progress with the wing. The hype, USA. saying fried, saying fried. This is your daily synthesizer. Pre-die AI into progress with a wing. The height. USA, China, Europe, saying fried, saying fried. This is your This is your daily synthesizer.